One of the type of videos I've always wanted to make is kind of like breaking down barbecue videos, kind of like film. For those of you guys who don't know, I used to coach football, and you know, a lot of football is like, you know, breaking down film. And when I was learning how to cook barbecue before I moved to Texas, like that's basically how I learned how to do it myself, is watching a bunch of YouTube videos, kind of breaking them down, rewinding, replaying certain things over and over again. And I thought a fun thing to do was to make a video about doing that with some of those older videos that I haven't watched in a couple years, but you know, hopefully with new knowledge of cooking barbecue professionally for the last couple years, there might be some new insights. And one of my favorite barbecue videos that I used to watch all the time when it first came out was that Bon Appetit working at Franklin's for a 24-hour shift. And that video was really one of the inspirations for me making that like 16-hour shift video at Terry Black's. So that's what we're going to be doing today. With that being said, let's do some film breakdown of Franklin Barbecue.
So it's 5:59 at Franklin Barbecue. My shift starts in 1 minute. I don't know, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I've been here a few times. I've had the food. I've waited in line. What time did you get here?
We got 4 a.m.
Damn.
Barbecue fans are crazy
o'clock.
people, man.
So you have to sit out here for 5 hours.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
We just converse.
Relax. The longest workday I've ever had was about 75, 76 hours straight. Straight.
All right, so this is the first thing that I want to talk about. Aaron Franklin saying that he's worked 76 hours, which is just about 3 days of straight work. Most recent memory, the longest kind of like straight working shift I've had was, I think it was like 42 hours or something like that. It was when I was like doing pop-ups and I started like my day really early. Yeah, it was a really long day, but you know, that's kind of part of it.
Barbecue is essentially taking tough cuts of meat and through the alchemy of wood, fire, smoke, time, and most importantly, passion, turning that into something otherworldly. It's much harder than it looks.
Little sauce. Oh gosh, sorry.
It's all right. Start over.
Like that? This way?
Smooth it out and then lift it up on that edge, like so. But you want it to be upside down.
Yeah. Okay. Jesus.
If you guys have seen my other rib videos before, and I talk about the wrap and talking about these little intricate things, and you know, I definitely want to make sure my food is good as it possibly can be, but it can't be so many steps that if I were to take like my recipe or my step-by-step thing and ask someone to do it 100 times during the day, it can't be something that is going to take forever. But with that being said, when you simplify the process with less steps, each step is a little bit more important. Now, is it really that important that one fold starts first and the next goes afterwards? Not really, as long as it's wrapped tight and properly. But if you have a system of how you do things, it becomes much easier to replicate and much easier for you to do it quicker and be more efficient. And if you're an owner, it's much easier to train people when you have a specific way how to doing things, because one, it makes it easier for you to teach those steps, and number two, it makes it easier for an employee to understand those steps, and it's not just loosey-goosey, you can do whatever you want. Even though it's really nitpicky, it makes everything just way more efficient.
Do you hold your breath when you go in?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Why didn't you tell me that first?
Shout out to Rob. Right now he's in Maryland and he's doing some pizzas and doing some barbecue on the side. So if you guys don't follow him, or if you guys are in that Maryland area, definitely go check him out.
Come down. Come down. B stands for brisket. Okay. See, already got that. See how quick I am?
So we've got 49 briskets to sell.
To the line.
To the line, yep. So yeah.
You like this?
Yes. I like the chaos. Hey guys. So I am gonna start taking meat orders.
2 pounds of brisket.
2 pounds of brisket.
2 pounds of ribs.
You got 16 guys coming in? Wow. Maybe like 10 racks. 10 racks?
Okay.
The other thing I want to mention is ordering barbecue when you go on like these barbecue tours. If you're going to one place, go all out. Why not? But if you guys are gonna go to a bunch of different places, order food like you're ordering for like one person and share it amongst like 3 or 4 people. Doing a barbecue tour is exhausting because you're eating so much of the same thing and it's really heavy, and it's not a pleasant experience when you get to the last place if you're just going all out in the first couple places you go to. 16 people, I think, and then he's ordering 10 racks of ribs. That is absurd. Don't do that. That's a waste of your money, and I'm sure a lot of it's going to get tossed out. I'm hoping that when they got to the block, whoever the cutter was just like, hold up a minute, let's be reasonable, and let's get you a normal portion for all of you guys.
All right, here we go. Woo! Welcome. 6 hours
Such
later.
a good feeling when that door opens.
Yeah.
Yes, there it is.
To the front.
So that's going to be a pound right there. Is that cool for you?
He's the best friend in the world because he got here in the morning.
Sure.
You're not paying for anything, are you? No.
That's a lot of food right there.
There you go.
I was pretty good at doing all the sides, which is like the potato salad, the coleslaw, the beans. I made a few beef sandwiches. I was getting good at that, and then Franklin wanted me to cut some brisket.
All right, so Andrew, we got a pound of brisket to go, so don't curl your knuckles. Right there, that's a half.
That's a half.
It's 0.498.
Wow.
Let's throw it on there, but get another slice in there anyway.
Because I just ripped it apart.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to charge him for that. We threw an extra pound in there for you, by the way.
He's better at it than I am. You got a free pound out of it, though.
Cut the next one?
No.
Are you sure?
He doesn't want me to.
All right, so let's talk about that right there. I think that most people now know how important the cutter is at the front of the line. If you guys have watched other Franklin videos before, he talks about how there's not that much seating in the restaurant. They definitely added more seating the last time I've been there, but there's no way to accommodate all those people waiting in line. Depending on how busy it is, if people are actually eating and leaving or they're hanging out, the person on the cutting block is really controlling the pace with conversation, how fast that they're cutting and all that kind of stuff. And also with this food being sold a la carte and by weight, you saw how Aaron saw how much brisket was being sliced on that lean, and he's like, well, that's half a pound right there, 0.498 or something like that. And you know, that only comes from a lot of experience cutting. And for those of you guys who are serving by the weight, I'm sure sometimes you end up serving a little bit more than you would like to, just because, you know, the slices were too thick or the brisket was too wide and the slices just aren't as consistent as you want them to be. Which is why sourcing your product and having it be consistent and having your trim be consistent and making sure that your yield when you cook is consistent, all that kind of stuff gets into being able to like look at your brisket, know how many slices you need to match the weight that the person actually ordered.
He's doing pretty good. He takes direction well. He really means it. He's not just kind of like jumping in and being like, oh, I'm going to do this. See you later. Like, he's really in there working. Like, he's scrubbing the floors, really like, you know, scooping the sides, really just like listening to people, really paying attention. Yeah, feeling really good about him. I think he did a great job. I think I'd hire him, actually.
You have never cleaned a floor until you've cleaned a floor where there's brisket fat everywhere. I wish I could go home and take a shower, have a couple beers, and watch ESPN, but still not halfway.
Just going over what Aaron Franklin was talking about, just him just saying like, yeah, he worked really well. Like, he was really scooping the sides. He was really paying attention. He's like really cleaning, all that kind of stuff. For those of you guys who might be interested in looking for a barbecue job with the aspirations of wanting to be on the cutting block or to be in the pit room, but you know, the only opportunity that you have to step into a restaurant is to be the person scooping sides or bussing tables. And in all honesty, I got very lucky the way that I got my first job at Terry Black's. You know, I was thrown into the overnight shift, which is great. My plan was to basically be a dishwasher or bus tables or do whatever they needed me to do for like 2 to 3 months. At the end of my shift, I'm gonna go stand outside where the pit guys are, try to show that I actually care and I like want to be out here as well. So anytime that you're trying to work in a restaurant or any job you have, like, just try to maximize your opportunity as much as possible.
I'm Andrew.
Hey, Andrew, I'm Ron.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I was just checking on these that we put on 10 o'clock this morning.
All right, so at this point right now, they said the briskets went on at 10, it's around 6, so it's about 8 hours into the cook. When I was first learning how to cook barbecue, this right here Whether or not the time is actually accurate, I think it is based off of what I've heard and what I know now from like other people that work there. I was never sure how dark my brisket should be, because when I was cooking in my backyard, they varied. Sometimes they got dark way too quick, or sometimes they didn't get enough color at all. Watching this part and seeing like what their briskets look like was huge for me. And I was always trying to be like, all right, at 8 hours, I want my briskets to be this color right here. And yeah, it was, for me, really important. And that's, again, me watching this video just not as like entertainment, but this is like film study for me. Like, I want to know what they're doing.
So it's just you, Ben, and me until like 1 o'clock? It's gonna be fun.
Yep. Let's start by tipping all these up and just getting rid of all the grease that's on there. We're gonna get rid of all that grease there. You're welcome to use a rag if you
Yeah,
need
I think
it.
I'm gonna keep my fingertips.
Feel this one here.
Okay.
If it's a little bit cloudy on the inside, on the fat,
Yeah.
then I need to render a little bit further. And I need to
So that one needs to go a little bit further?
Yeah.
Okay. How long you been doing this?
6 years.
6 years. You love it?
Yeah, it's great.
Am I gonna get a feel for it in 24 hours?
We'll see. I'm gonna go in here with the apple cider vinegar and spray them down.
Okay.
Cooling down my surface temperature, that's what I'm always doing. Just stick your head in there, it'll be okay.
Okay, so this part is really important. And I want to emphasize this because the person that you guys saw there, Braun Hughes, was a huge inspiration to me. Probably one of the reasons why I decided to move to Texas. The very first time I went to Franklin, I've had the food and it was amazing. But it wasn't until I went into the pit room, we got a pit tour. I thought I was gonna be in there and take a couple pictures of the briskets of the pit room, be like, this is dope, and then be out. But I started asking him just kind of small questions about like how he selected wood, how he built his fires, and you know, just barbecue questions I was curious about as like a young barbecue cook that didn't really know what he was doing. We literally spent 25-30 minutes just picking up different logs on the wood rack, him showing me how he builds his fires, kind of talking me through certain things that he's looking for. And I was like, this is amazing. I wanted that experience. I wanted to work beside someone like him. And the more and more I got to meet other people and talk to them and go on more pit tours, I realized that so many guys are like that. And that's what led me to wanting to move to Texas. So Braun, I don't know if he watches my YouTube videos, but thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you a lot more than you know. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
If you can get in there and rake out this coal bed.
It's hot.
I want you to see how the fire is being built on this spot right here. We got 2 logs going across the firebox like I normally do, and just in a couple seconds you'll see another way.
Right here.
Yeah, that fire's about 450, 500 degrees.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Okay, right here, well, one, don't stick your arm in the firebox like he's doing right there. But you can see on the bottom, the base logs are, are going with the length of the firebox, and then the 2 going on top, like Lincoln logging it. And the one thing that I always want to emphasize is there's not a right or wrong way to build your fires, as long as you're getting the proper convection, the proper smoke, and the proper heat. And learning how to do that with different styles of building fires is really important. Depending on the type of wood that you have, the shape that it's cut, the amount of moisture that's in there is going to change the way that you build your fires. You can't have your food come out drastically different or be overly smoky or maybe not render enough just because you didn't know how to build a proper fire with the wood that you have.
You don't have to put your arm all the way in there. You can use your shovel.
Shovel.
Stick your whole entire arm in there.
Yeah, there you go.
Arm here.
Rookie mistake, right? Rapid present.
I think it's upside down. Why does it have grill marks on this side? That one was upside down, yeah.
Should I send a tweet out saying don't get the pulled pork tomorrow at Franklin?
Please don't.
All right, so this is another thing that I just love seeing is, a lot of times when we're training guys, we want them to be like as hands-on as possible. You show them a couple times how to wrap certain things, how to build fires, what to look for. But sometimes you still have to double check. You want these new guys to come in, you kind of show them like the basic version of things and see if they can just follow simple instructions. Then, you fix them as they kind of go instead of taking over when things go wrong. If you want this person to be reliable and you want this person to understand their mistakes, you got to show them. So when you have cooks like that, when you have new people, you have to know that today's cook might be a little bit longer.
I'm making sauce now, and I kind of think this is my punishment for maybe screwing up the pork, but I think
Nothing yet.
If you guys have been following my channel for a bit, you guys know who that is. That is Ben from J&L. So if you guys are looking for a great barbecue spot that doesn't have ginormous long lines but has great food, definitely go check out J&L next time you're in Austin.
so. It's midnight, 3/4 of the way through. Night went okay, I think. I screwed up some of the pork butts. I kind of flipped them wrong. I also ripped one of the bags that we wrapped the briskets in early, and it was just like gushing with all that liquid gold, all the juice. I think Braun was kind of pissed about that. But
when you're ready to check briskets or move them around, you got to get rid of that want and that tendency of dragging briskets. Whether it's when the briskets aren't wrapped up and you're just trying to move them around, you pull that brisket, you kind of scrape off that seasoning off the bottom. But more importantly, when it's in wrap and you try to go inside, and especially that brisket that's all the way in the back wall, and you try to yank it towards you so you can check on it, and it scrapes and it opens it up, that brisket is just not going to be as good as it needs to be. I know it's hard, I know it's annoying, I know it's hot in the smoker, but I'm not that tall. And then when I had to go in and reach those briskets in the back, like my stomach was on the grates. It's just what you have to do to make sure that you don't rip any of these briskets.
this is also the time of the night, like when you got like 6 hours left, when like you start feeling in your calves and your thighs that you've been on your feet basically for 18 hours. All the espresso and all that adrenaline kind of runs out and you're just running on fumes. Running on smoke, as the case may be. And I also realized I can't even smell the smoke anymore. For the first 12 hours, I could kind of smell myself, but now I can't smell anything.
I can definitely feel what he's feeling, especially when he was talking about like the feeling in the calves. Like that's always a big one for me. I try not to sit down when I'm cooking barbecue because as soon as I sit down, I don't want to get up. So I'm generally on my feet almost the entire time just to kind of like make sure that I'm paying attention, that I'm awake and I'm alert. But like you said, when that caffeine wears off, the adrenaline wears off, and you're kind of zoned into this last part of this cook after a long day, and you're wanting to rush things because you want it to be over, but you can't. You just have to stay patient and make sure that the food that you spent all day cooking and all day prepping, don't mess it up at the end by not just going 100% and just letting it cook and do its thing, because it'll be worth it at the end. There's nothing worse than spending all that time and coming out with mediocre product.
So you guys getting out of here?
Good hanging out with you tonight.
Thanks, man.
Good luck with
I
that.
appreciate your patience.
No problem. That's fun.
It's 1:30. You are alone. Like,
It's been years since someone else was here with me.
really?
Yeah.
Did you ever get spooked here being by yourself?
We got broken into one morning.
Really?
A couple of dudes, just hoodies and pants, reached over to try to grab the cash register. I was eating some potato salad and I just had something in my hands. I threw it at him. Get the fuck out of here.
You threw potato salad at him?
Yeah. They still make jokes.
Okay, so let's talk about overnight shifts in general. I met Andy a couple times. I think he gave me a pit tour during my second time going to Franklin. But during that overnight shift, it's like a different world. And I'm sure those of you guys, it's not even just barbecue, but those of you guys who have many jobs that you work overnight shifts. And, sometimes if you're one of the only few people that are working there, it can be a little sketchy sometimes. Luckily at Terry Black, there's always at least one other person with me during that time. But at Truth, sometimes there's only one of us most of the time. Maybe on the weekends we might have a second guy, but it can be sketchy sometimes. But I would say the one thing that is hardness about this, and I know some people are really good about overnight shifts and they love it, it just feels like you're living in a different world. It took me a long time to get used to those overnight shifts. A lot of us barbecue guys give props to some someone else for putting in these long hours and staying up all night, all the time, doing this kind of stuff. It is kind of like a badge of honor that you can and do those things, but at the same time, as I think about potentially in the future open my own place, as much as possible, I would not want that for my employees. I would like them to go home and spend time with their family when their family is awake and available. But you know, when you're running an operation like this and this large, and you know the type of food that you're serving and the fact that you're serving it for lunch, you kind of can't get away with doing that. The overnight guys, you don't really hear too much about them because you rarely see them. They leave once a restaurant is open, and then they're definitely there when you're not there. So I would kind of get to know random guys who are working overnight shifts, and every now and then when I get bored, I would just kind of like text them and just be, yo, what's up, just to let them know, like, hey, we're not in the same place, but we're doing the same thing together.
When I heard Andrew was gonna be here for 24 hours in this environment with all this smoke and heat, I kind of expected a few hours and he might change his mind. I certainly didn't expect him to still be here.
So you know, Andy, when I came in this morning, you were kind of doing this.
Yeah.
And this is 24 hours later. A new day's barbecue.
I made it. I just worked 24 hours at Franklin Barbecue in Austin, Texas. One of the things that I'll take from this experience is not just amazing barbecue, it's the really cool people who are passionate behind it. And I think that's what makes the difference. That's why Franklin Barbecue is what it is. Best barbecue, not just in Texas, not in America, not in the world, in the entire universe. I'm gonna go take a shower and then try to figure out a way to get this smoke out of my clothes.
Alright guys, so that was that 24-hour shift video at Franklin, and man, I love this video. You know, as someone who was trying to do pop-ups in my backyards, had ambitions of wanting to move to Texas to do exactly what they're doing. Yeah, breaking down barbecue videos, especially from like restaurants, was my thing. It was a thing that I always did when I was younger, trying to learn how to cook barbecue, and it was just part of my barbecue journey, is watching film. And if this is something that you guys want to see me do with other videos, do me a favor and let me know in the comments down below. Send me some suggestions of YouTube videos that you want me to watch. Like, put a link in the comments so I know what video that you're talking about. But the one thing that I don't want it to become is me just bashing on other YouTubers as they try to make brisket when they're not a barbecue channel, they're just a cooking channel. But the one thing that I would like to do is take their cook and, you know, the knowledge that I have and seeing where things kind of mesh, and then also pointing out things that maybe aren't so correct or things that don't work so well, and maybe offering some suggestions if you guys are cooking in a similar style or cooking on similar types of smokers or living in apartments and things like that, like a lot of these guys who make YouTube videos do. These videos are meant to be educational. It's meant to be something where we're all learning more about how to cook brisket, ribs, sausage, whatever you guys want, but without putting people down and doing all that kind of stuff, because that's just not how I want to do things. That's the end of this video, and if you guys like this video, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one.